Hi campers. Well, we started out here kind of explaining about these three different persons that somehow all get created and attached to you at the time of your birth. There's you, or in this case, me, the baby girl, Anna Maria Reisinger, who was born on June 6, 1956. And so she's a non-citizen national at birth. Of course she's unincorporated. She's a living being, right? And she's freeborn. She has no obligation to anything anywhere. She's just a girl, okay? Now, over here we have another entity that's created out of thin air and operating under the same exact name. So this ought to kind of put a flag up, and you might think, ooh, that doesn't sound right. You've had an identity theft happen right there. Boom. And it's only a couple weeks after the baby girl is born. This version of Anna Maria Reisinger, as you can see, is spelled the same exact way, looks exactly the same as the given name of the baby girl, only this is a British territorial female person, and its birth date is June 24th, 1956, a couple weeks later. Okay, so this critter here is a British territorial U.S. citizen at birth, and that means a U.S. citizen, as you can see here. They're a British Crown corporation and considered an indentured servant. But of course there's really nobody here. I mean, a person is, for the purposes of the federal government, a corporation, okay? Now over here, we've got the famous straw man, Anna Maria Reisinger, a Roman municipal person, with another birth date of June 27, 1956. And as you can see, this is a Roman inferior municipal trust. It's fully incorporated. It's considered a citizen of the United States, otherwise known as a 14th Amendment citizen or slave. So you've got a freeborn girl, you've got an indentured servant who's a British territorial, U.S. citizen with a capital C, and then you also have this Roman municipal trust that's considered a citizen of the United States. Well, you might ask, you've got a living girl, you've got a British Crown corporation that's a commercial corporation, and you've got a Roman municipal trust. These things are extremely different. Okay, you got two corporations and a little girl. And yet they're all operated under the same name, as if they were triplets. And the only thing that really is set apart that you can look at and recognize and see that's different is the all capital letters name, because these first two use the identical same name. And this is why it's so easy to do a substitution fraud scheme. This is a process called mirroring, and it's an identity theft scheme in which this fellow here, the British territorial female person, is substituted for the little baby girl. The baby girl disappears on paper. She's basically killed on paper by this action, creating the British territorial trust, all right? And so all that's left of her by June 24th, 1956, the baby girl, is an infant descendant estate. It doesn't mean that she's physically dead, although she could be. What it means is that someone, her mother, unwittingly waived her estate, said, she doesn't really want or need her American birthright, her American freedoms, her American property assets. No, we're going to, claim that she's a U.S. citizen of some kind. Well, then that opens the door for the rotters to get in and create the British Territorial Trust and the Roman Municipal Trust, and to substitute these two foreign trusts for the identity of our American baby girl. Now, a few years down the pike, the perpetrators are even going to get rid of this guy. They're going to claim that he was, or she, was lost at sea. And so, after a couple years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, this version is going to kind of still be there, but not. They'll continue to operate it under this name, right? But they'll also operate it as Reisinger Anna Maria and Reisinger Anna M, and even sometimes Reisinger AM. I mean, they'll come up with all sorts of different variations to create different trusts, because every time they create a trust, they seize another asset, or they move or transfer another asset. And so they create all these various things out of thin air to cashier your assets and your credit, and basically, play all sorts of games with your identity, and to allege all sorts of foreign citizenship obligations on you, and to, claim trusteeship over you, and all sorts of things, which are just unconscionable international crimes and fraud. All right, so this has been going on for many years now. And we've even seen the development of another fraud scheme when they realized that their cover was blown on all of this. They tried desperately to come up with another way that they could claim to own you and control you, which was the whole transhuman thing, where they tried to inject everybody with their loathsome DNA altering patented little scrap of mRNA, and then use that as a basis to claim that everybody who received the quote-unquote vaccine had been magically transformed and redefined as a transhuman and as a genetically modified organism owned by the patent holders. So this was another filthy attempt by commercial and municipal interests to steal your identity and to denigrate you and defraud you. These are criminals and these are crimes. We know how they've done them, and we know the entire history of how they've benefited themselves at our expense, while in fact owing us good faith service, and in fact taking their paychecks from our pockets. So these people have been acting in breach of trust and in gross violation of their service contracts for a long, long time. And they've gotten away with it because they kept mum and didn't tell us a thing about what they were doing, saying, or alleging about us, their faithful employers. I mean, it's a terrible thing. And I don't like to tell you this, but it is what it is. And it's something that we have to address as an entire country. It's not something that just one of us can do, or that just a few people can do. Every American has to understand that they have been put through this system, this fraud machine, and virtually everything that you have has either been outright stolen or commandeered, purloined, cashiered, seized upon, latched upon, salvaged, or otherwise glommed onto by these British territorial and Roman public employee corporations. And we'll get into more of it. We'll get into more specific descriptions of exactly what these things are and how they operate. But the thing that you have to know for right now is that, hey, you're a crime victim. And it's a big time international crime.